Hey guys, what's up? This is Jake.
And I'm Joel, and we are coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio.
Cheers.
And we are drinking Cincinnati Brew Rheingeist. And we are drinking it because of its skull insignia.
Why would we do that?
Oh, well, it's funny you asked, Jake, because today we are going to be punishing ourselves.
Is that because we're going to be watching The Punisher?
Oh, what-a-na. Yes, that is exactly why.
The 1989 Punisher starring Dolph Lundgren and Lou Gossett Jr.
I think it's Lundgren.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but, hey.
This guy. It's starring him.
Yes.
He-Man himself.
Yes, the He-Man himself.
And what was his name from Rocky? Oh, whatever.
He was the Russian dude.
The Russian dude.
Yeah.
The name escapes me. But anyways, this was Marvel's first attempt at making a Punisher movie all the way back in 1989.
Yeah.
Did you ever see this movie before?
I never have. I remember seeing it at a video store when I was like a kid, and I thought like, oh, they made a Punisher movie in like the 80s? That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I never actually had the cojones to pick it up and rent it.
I was the same as you. I never saw it. I saw it much later after I knew it was around. I remember seeing the same thing, the VHS in the store, and I was like, wow, they made a Punisher movie, but it was rated R, so I was like, I can't see it.
My hands are tied.
My hands are tied. And I think the first time I actually saw it was on TV, so it was edited. So I've seen it a few times. It's been a couple of years since I watched it, but for a long time, so they've made a total of 3 Punisher movies, and now they have the Punisher in the Daredevil Netflix series, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And they are eventually going to be doing a Punisher series on Netflix. So that was the idea.
That's good.
I got this 3-pack DVD for $10, and I was like, we got to do each movie and review them and see, I guess, where they stack up.
You may have overpaid. I think you may have overpaid.
Well, if you like
$10.
bad movies like I do, then it's a pretty good deal. But I have fond memories of the Punisher. We'll find out. We're going to watch it.
If this DVD menu tells me anything, we're in for credit. What a treat.
The DVD menu is very cheap looking. So
Yeah, so that
but
should be
we'll
fun.
see how the movie is, and we'll be back with The
All right.
Punisher,
Okay.
1989. Whoa! All right, we just watched The Punisher, 1989. So, first impressions.
It was
What'd you
not.
think?
It was not a punishment. I gotta say, of all the movies we've done, as this whole Marvel early series has continued, I gotta say, Punisher, my favorite so far.
This definitely was, I think, the most fun to watch.
Yeah.
The other ones we watched were fun because they were so bad, but this one, it's not awesome, but it's still a lot of fun. It's just an awesome 80s action movie. It reminds me a lot of like, I don't know, like Stallone, like Cobra, and like Schwarzenegger, like Commando. It's just like definitely a product of its time where you're like, it's like the 80s, and it was just like, let's see the good guy just like waste all the bad guys.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Steven Seagal.
Right,
kinda.
exactly. It's a Steven
It's
Seagal
a Steven Seagal-esque like action film.
Right. And even though it was much lower budget than most movies at the time, it still had a lot of explosions.
It did. It had a lot, like right off the bat, you had 2 ginormous explosions.
Right. It's still a fun movie. I like it a lot.
I do.
A couple of notes we have. The beginning has a cool scene. The title screen is really cool. It's like a bullseye that keeps like expanding, and like the credits keep going through.
Yep.
And in each bullseye, there's like a new image that keeps going through.
Yep.
And at first, when I was watching it this time, because I hadn't seen it in a while, I was like, oh wait, like is the character Bullseye, like the Marvel villain, is he like the villain in the movie? Because they kept doing the Bullseye. Then like, oh wait, no, it wasn't, because Bullseye is a Daredevil villain. But of course, we all know there is a Punisher Daredevil connection, but we haven't gotten there yet. It comes out much later than the original Punisher movies. Funny thing we noticed that like we said, it's very 80s. There's so many like great 80s bad guy drug dealer kind of stuff. Like the guys like when you don't know what kind of drugs the mafia dude's like talking about. He's like, I got a truckload of junk coming in.
Yeah, all the news reporters had mullets, and all the villains had slick back hair. Like,
it was the end of the 80s, but everyone had big shoulder pads, like all the blazers and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's a product of its time, for sure.
And one thing that's weird is, like, when you think of the Punisher, obviously, what's the first thing you think of when you think of the Punisher?
His skull insignia
Right.
on his chest.
You think of a skull on his chest.
Yeah, that's his
In
symbol.
this movie, he never has a skull on his shirt or his chest at all. It's just, he just wears all black, like...
They were too busy, like, paying money for explosions to actually throw some money out to have a white shirt with a skull on it. Or a black shirt with a white skull.
Would it have been that hard just to, like, get someone to paint, like, a white skull, like, on his chest? But
even with, like, chalk.
Yeah,
who
knows?
No, you never see the skull. He has a knife. And knives are very intricate to the story.
There's a ton of knife throwing in this movie.
Yeah.
As well as, you know, gunfire and stuff. But, like, there's so many, like, times where he'll come around the corner and there'll be, like, a bad guy there. And then he'll throw a knife and it'll be a close-up of the knife spinning. And then, like, hitting the dude in the neck. It's like, they loved knife throwing in the movie.
I suspect that the writing staff half of them were ninjas.
Yeah. And that's a part we're going to talk about, too, is that a very... 80s cliche of action movies is like, well, the bad guys, like, what are we going to do? Because the Punisher is known for, you know...
Justice.
Taking out, like, he's usually battling, you know, organized crime, the mafia and stuff.
Like the mob.
Right. And he does in this movie, but they're also like, wouldn't it be cool if he also fought ninjas?
Yeah. Like, it'd be great if he took on the mafia, but also with the mafia, why don't we have the mafia aligned with ninjas?
Yeah, the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia.
So, yeah, this movie had a very interesting Oriental feel to it. In fact, my roommate, who just popped in and watched, he says, this feels very much like Kill Bill.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of weird, like, dojo... Like, in the final fight scene, like, weird, like, ninjas and, like, they're...
A lot of crashing through those paper walls.
Yeah, paper walls.
Yeah. There was a lot of crash... And a red lens.
Yeah. It's so 80s. Like, of course, like, the final battle in the movie, it's like, they can't just have, like, normal lighting. It's like, something has to happen with the lighting, so it goes to, like, those, like, emergency, like, red lights, so it's all, like, red. It's really, like... It's a very 80s style.
Yeah.
One of the things we notice also is if you're familiar with the Punisher,
yeah.
he has a
sidekick,
yeah. And then the comics...
Much like Batman had Morgan Freeman, if you know the Dark Knight series.
Right.
He had someone who gave him all of his gadgets, gave him kind of all of his technology, and, like, educated him on, like... Right. What he was capable of with all his devices.
Right. So the Punisher's character that he has in the comics is a guy called Microchip, who is the one who supplies him with all these guns and...
He's like, Micro, I need to get into this place. He's like, oh, let me give you... What? Like,
right, yeah. Just, like, I can hook you up with all this stuff, and here's this, like, crazy, like, intricate plans to the building, and here's, like, some weapons and stuff like that.
Well, that was too much for the 1980s.
They didn't do that. Instead, they have, as his sidekick, just this, like, homeless, drunk guy who is just kind of, like, on the streets and just kind of, like, gathers information, and then he's, like, the Punisher's, like, go-to
sidekick.
guy.
I gotta say, he looks like a guy who smelled like if Big Mac ate a Taco Bell. Like, he's just bad. He's just bad, and he's a thespian.
Yeah,
like,
he's a drunk, homeless actor.
Yeah.
So, like, in certain parts of the movie, like, he'll be talking to the Punisher, and he'll be, like, speaking in rhyme.
Yeah. He'll be like, oh, you have to solve these riddles of 3.
Right.
Like, just tell me where the base is.
Right.
Like, it just makes no sense. Like, it's
But
almost
again,
like Fantastic Four with that droid. You're just like,
right.
What the heck? Like,
but
okay,
again, it's
Marvel.
total 80s. Everyone had to have some kind of quirky, like, sidekick or something like that. So, you know, it's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. Yeah. It reminded me a lot of, like, Lethal Weapon.
Right. So it's funny that we were talking about how the Punisher now, most people know if they watch the Netflix Daredevil series, they see the Punisher, which is still... Up until now, I think is the best Punisher we've gotten. Obviously, I think a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting connection with Daredevil in the Netflix series. Me watching this, at first thinking, like, oh, is Bullseye in this? Because I think they're going to do, like, some kind of connection with Daredevil. We were talking about how it's funny, Punisher and Daredevil go together really well because Daredevil is all about justice. Like these criminals have to be tried. They have to go through the court. And then Punisher's like, no, I just gotta kill them.
Yeah.
So you said they were
they're kind of like Oscar and Felix, the odd couple of Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of like da 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 da. And I'm just
interesting mix. Fun movie. Still a lot of fun to watch even now.
Definitely. I would say of all the kind of early Marvel attempts that we have kind of watched, then that's like that's Captain America, that's the John Corman Fantastic Four,
right,
and that would be the Incredible Hulk. I would say this one by far was my favorite.
I would agree. It's still fun to watch. It's just like I said.
It's not terrible.
No, and like I said, if you watch 80s action movies,
like
Cobra, stuff like that, it's like those are fun movies, and this is a fun movie to watch. You're still watching, like, yeah, awesome.
And it even kind of reminded me of like Ninja Turtles a little bit, like the live action Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Granted, he is naked in a sewer praying to God, but at the same time,
there's a weird part in the movie where he's like in his lair, and it's like he's like naked, just like sitting there, like meditating or something, and you're like, okay, like why do they have to like?
I don't know. Dolph Lundgren has it in his contract. He's got to show his tuchus.
I guess it's a very odd choice for the movie, but
yeah.
Overall, besides that, it's a good movie. So, would you recommend The Punisher for a Marvel fan?
If you want to watch a bad movie and like kind of do a little Mystery Science Theater riffing over top of it with your friends, it's great.
Cool. I agree. A lot of fun. I give it a good recommendation.
I give it one thumbs up and then a sideways.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
From what we've watched so far, it's definitely.
From what we've watched so far, it's pretty good.
So, anyways, we're one down. We're one down. We're gonna do all three. So we finished the first one. We both like it.
I'm excited to see this one because the first time I saw it, I was not really in a good state of mind.
This movie, we'll talk about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
But anyways, thanks for sticking around and watching our review. And we'll be back next time with The Punisher 2004, their second attempt. We'll see if they got it right. We'll find out.
Sandy! Oh my God!
Oh my God! Yeah, John Travolta's in it.
Yeah. All right. Take care, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.